Hi, this is Linda, and I found out that even though last lesson talked about the S at the end of a word, I realized there were more questions that were not answered. So I'm going to do a little bit more about ending with the letter S. So this is Talking in American English, lesson 26, words ending with S, a few more pronunciation guidelines. Okay, I tried in my previous video to use a little red S and a little red Z, but that didn't show up very well, so I'm trying a different method this time. If it sounds like Z, as in buzz, I put the letter in green. If it sounds like S, as in snake, I put the letter in sort of a pink color. And the lesson 25 was talking about if you have a word and you add an S to it. There were 4 reasons why you would add an S to a word. And there was a rule, very consistent. Vibrating word, add an S, vibrating Z. Not vibrating word on the end, add an S, which also doesn't vibrate. Now that was the rule in lesson 25, but there are more words that end in S. It's just part of the word itself. What happens then? What about the S at the end of the original word? Now here's a rule that we can go by that fits just these pronouns that end in an S. His, these are all going to follow the rule just like the added S. Because these are considered added S's, they show possession just like having a noun like woman's. You add apostrophe S. Well, we're adding an S inside the pronoun forms. His, hers. Now this one doesn't vibrate, so it's its, yours, theirs, ours, yourselves. Can you tell it's green? Ourselves, themselves. You can still use the same rule for these pronouns. Now, when we go on farther, if the S is a part of the original word, the sound can be either S or Z. But it is usually, more often than not, it's S at the end of a word if it's part of the original word. But let's look at some examples. These are the typical ones. Gas, iris, that's either a flower or this part of your eye. Bias, it means you make up your mind ahead of time and you're not listening. Thus, it's this way. Thus, it's this way. This way, therefore, that way. So it's like therefore, thus, us, bus, alias, that's another name that you use that's not your real name, alias, octopus, cactus. And these words that end in SIS, probably from Greek or Latin or French, basis, crisis, diagnosis, analysis. If you know the word analyze, the accent begins at the first, but when we turn it into a noun, it's analysis. That's how you pronounce that word. And then all of the words that end in double S, loss, pass, glass, mess, and many more. Now here are some general rules. This is a dependable rule. This is sort of a dependable rule. And this is a dependable rule. Here we have S ending words that make the Z sound. And these are the second form of a verb. If it's the second form of a verb, it's the same rule as when we have an added S. Is, was, does, has, goes. If it's the second form of the verb and there's a vowel in front of it, it's going to say Z. And there are a few words that, for no particular reason, they're going to say Z. News, that's one word. It's not plural of new. It's news. The news is important. Lens, this is the lens in my glasses. And then the word as is very much like has. We just do them the same way. And so I'm going to give you some sentences with this before I expand to a little bit more. Please, if you didn't really need much of this explanation, practice reading the sentences. For beginners as well as advanced students, pronunciation is a top priority, and reading these sentences should help pronunciation. So the first one, winter was cold, but it has ended. It's spring in America. That's pretty much following the rules I've told you. For pronunciation purposes, when you start seeing an S at the end of a word, you want to make it connect to the next word if possible so that you don't put a little sound in there or drop the S sound entirely. So we'd say winter was cold, but it has ended. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but if you do this, it will help people understand you. Winter was cold, but it has ended. It's spring. The two S's blend together. It's spring in America. Spring months are, spring months are March, April, and May. This year, get that S with a Y, this year, spring officially begins on March 20th. The days begin, try not to say the days begin to get longer and warmer. Many people prepare their gardens and plant flowers. I exaggerated, but try to say gardens and. Let this go right into the A. Flowers bloom in the country and beside roads. Texas is, I have to put a little z sound in there for the apostrophe S. Texas's state flower, bluebonnet, blooms for a few weeks. Try not to say blooms for. Blooms for a few weeks. Here we have a few more sentences. Rain increases with a higher chance of severe weather. That means very bad stormy weather. Windy days happen more often, and allergies are worse. The wind lets people fly kites. If you can, let the S go to the next word. No vibrations, no vibrations. The rule works most of the time. Farmers plant crops, and baby farm animals are born. Many people do spring cleaning in their homes. Schools and universities have spring break. Try not to say universities have. Universities have spring break. For the holiday Easter, a child gets to decorate eggs and hunts eggs. Hunts eggs. Eggs and. College basketball teams have March Madness in March. Sports commentators give. See, I tried not to stop. Sports commentators give their analysis on the basis of the team's skill. And I can let these two S's go together, just make it longer. The team's skill. Winners are announced to us on the news. One sentence I didn't add because it was getting too long was about the time changes also in spring, and we move the clocks up. It's a pain, but we do that. Okay, now let's look at some words that end in S and silent E. This can be a problem sometimes. So here is a rule for these words and just a few words like them, but it doesn't apply to all words that end in SE. It's just these words. If it's an adjective or if it's a noun, the S sounds S. If it's a verb, the S sounds Z. Here are some examples. If the storm is close, close the windows. I'm not marking all the S's in here, just the ones of these two words. Close, close. What is its use? We use it for many things. Use, noun, verb. The button is loose. It's about to fall off. Now, we drop the O as well, but the sound otherwise is the same except for the S. Don't lose it. Oh, where did it go? Did I lose it? It's loose. I might lose it. Hurting the cat is abuse. That's a noun. He abused the poor animal. That's a Z because it's a verb. He gave an excuse. That's a noun. But the judge didn't excuse him, let him go. He didn't let him go. Noun, verb. Now this one has the verb and then the noun, but it works the same way. We don't usually house large animals in the house. Noun, verb. This house is like if you let them live in a place, you house them there. It's a verb. But this is the building, the house. So there are some words that work that way. Let's look at a few more. When a word is ending with SE after a consonant, it says S, or S most of the time. As in false, see the consonant SE, false, nurse, consonant SE, purse, verse, horse, rinse. As in these sentences, the nurse left her purse. They rinse the horse with water. Now, there are a few words that don't break the rule and then a few that I want to point out separately. Chase is not like that earlier one where it was a verb. It sounded one way. If it's a noun, it sounds another. Chase can be a verb or it can be a noun. It doesn't matter. It's going to be erase. Now, the word vase in England would be pronounced vase with a Z, I think. That's what I've heard. But we say vase. So notice that word is different. And then base can be a noun or a verb, but it says case. Case a place is to check it out, verb, but it is a good case is a noun. They both sound the same. It doesn't change. When you see these words, they're always what you see. They don't change. Now, another thing I want to tell you, though, is when we have that at the end where it's a vowel and an S sound and an E, it's almost always spelled with a C rather than with an S, as in nice, ice, spice, entice, face, pace, race. So more often, this with a vowel, consonant, vowel, and the vowel is an S, it's going to be a C instead. But not always. So we looked at a few of those. Words ending with S, silent E, after two vowels, most of the time it says Z. Poise, you're being very dignified, you have poise. Noise, pause, cause, raise, praise. It doesn't matter whether it's a noun or a verb, it's going to be a Z sound. There was a pause in the noise. His poise will cause a raise in the praise he receives. Now this breaks the rule. There are two vowels, but it's going to say an S sound instead of a Z sound. Goose, geese, loose, house, when it's a noun, not when it's a verb. Mouse. Okay. So notice that for the S words, Z is more common than S. And there also are words that have two vowels and that sound, but it's going to be spelled with a C. Voice, choice, piece, piece, like one small part of something. Sauce. These are spelled with CE instead of SE to make the S sound. Here's the last one. And I have a few words that I think you just have to memorize because the rules, I call them rules, they're more generalizations. Maybe they're rules, but maybe they're just generalizations that we break quite a bit. These words, hose, it doesn't matter whether it's a noun or a verb, it's pronounced hose. Dose, it doesn't matter whether it's a noun or a verb, it's pronounced dose. Pose, noun or verb. Rose, noun or verb. Nose, noun or verb. It's not used as a verb very often. You nose around means you're being nosy, you're checking it out, but it's not a very common verb, but it can be a noun or a verb. It's always pronounced nose. Phase, noun or verb. Phrase, noun or verb. Prose, it's a noun, always. Lose, verb. Suppose, verb. And some pronouns like these, those, whose. So here are some sentences that illustrate some of that. Hose down the grass with the hose. This is a verb, this is a noun, but they're both z. He doses the sick animal with a large dose of medicine. This is a verb, this is a noun, both s. I suppose he will pose in the picture in a proud pose. It's the position he's in. He's posing, that's a verb, in a pose, that's a noun. He rose, that means he got up, and took the rose, the flower, from the vase, which we had earlier, to his nose. He rose, he got up, and took the rose, and he put it to his nose, all Z's, except for vase. He will phase in, that's a verb, a new phase, that's a noun, of the project. How will he phrase, that's a verb, the words you put together. How will he phrase it so the phrase, that's the noun, will be understood? Those who read prose like these books. Whose did I lose? Those are examples of the S or Z sound at the end of many words. I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you next time.